Hey, welcome back to Tohlfer Talks Comics. And yeah, I kind of wimped out this Wednesday. I went down to get some books, and I didn't have a lot of time. I was kind of in between appointments, but I grabbed a few things. I really went down to get The Last Barbarians, the second issue, but I got there and I don't know. The first issue really just I reread it. The art is nice. The cover was amazing. I just couldn't, I don't know. There just, wasn't enough that happened in the first issue, so I didn't pick that up. I might go back, like later this evening or tomorrow and grab it because the second issue did have a really also have some there was a really sweet painted cover that I was super tempted to pick up, but yeah, I didn't grab it. But I was in such a hurry that this was Last Ronin. This was another book I was looking for. And then I just grabbed this because I don't know. I liked the cover and I paged through it and it looked cool. And it wasn't until I got home that this is, for some reason, this was on the new comic book rack. And this book is from like March of 2022 or something. So I don't know. This is full disclosure here, man. I want everybody to know what you're getting into when you check out one of my videos. So anyway, I read it. It was okay. Actually, it was pretty good. And I did like the art. I like Marquez's take on Selena Kyle and Catwoman. She looks cool. Wow, look at that synchronicity, man. But like one thing I didn't get is there's all these flashbacks, man. Like every other scene, roughly an hour earlier. I don't get it. I haven't been hanging out in the chats and hanging out on, like online as much lately because I've been writing, working on, working on my book. And I tell you, part of the reason why it takes me so much time is I have, these scenes that I know need to happen and I'm trying to work them in so I don't have to do flashbacks, And so I'm not sure what to think of that. But yeah, there was some really, I wasn't like exactly, I was kind of bummed that, I wanted new comics and I ended up with this. But, there's some nice art in here. So it wasn't, yeah, I didn't, not totally, completely, disappointed. It's okay. It is what it is. I need to pay more attention next time. But yeah, I just don't understand. I get flashbacks can be okay, but it seems they were, I don't really get why, there's some conceptual reason that will be made clear later in the story is why. Here's one from 405 BC. I don't know. Maybe I need to read it again, but I missed something, or else maybe there's something lacking in the writing, possibly. I don't know. Maybe. But so yeah, this is a good penguin. I guess the kind of a movie penguin. Or maybe the Gotham TV show penguin. Or no, yeah, not that. The movie penguin. But anyway, so there's that. So my new comic book day video is yeah, kind of, I'm hurting there. Lacking. The Last Ronin, when I went over the first issue, I admitted that it was my first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle book, which, I'm not saying that proudly or anything. It's just, man, I was there. I was around when they came out. when Eastman and Laird started doing their thing, but I didn't, just wasn't what I was into. I didn't get it. I didn't understand, and I still to a large degree don't, but I have, this is, I have a willingness to learn. I'm kind of looking for the appropriate place to start. I guess there's an IDW collection that everybody says is the way to go. So, um, you know, hopefully I will learn enough about the turtles at some point where I can get into this and appreciate the stories, the characters, all that good stuff. Really like this cover. It's different, but I'm not even sure whose cover this is. Oh, that's Kevin Eastman's cover and Ben Bishop. Well, that's kind of cool. That's very cool. Man, I'm really glad I got this cover now. Excellent. Yeah. All right. And then, I was kind of not sure. This was usually I ask one of the guys at the Randy at the at the counter like if there's anything this month that he really liked, and this was one that he thought was very cool. And was Kyle Higgins. I guess I know him. I've heard of him. I may have read some of his Batman stuff. I'm not real sure. But I haven't heard anything really bad about him, so I thought I'd check this out on Randy's recommendation. The art looks pretty cool, and it ended up being, good. I liked it. It was very good. The dialogue is believable. You know, it's it was pretty good. So I thought maybe we'd take a look at this. At No One, I probably wouldn't have picked it up because No One personally, man, I don't know. The idea is, well, I think we'll see later on. It's like who is above the law? Well, no one is. It's vigilante. And it takes place in Pittsburgh, which is kind of cool. I don't know if I've ever read a comic that took place in Pittsburgh before. So, small thing, but still kind of cool. And I don't know, Geraldo Borges, not familiar with his work, but, so basically we're in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is being plagued by a series of killings, and it seems that they found the guy, and he's locked up, but now there's copycat murders going on. And so I think the idea is, as the series unfolds, we're going to solve the mystery of, who the real killer is. And, one of the main characters is this, he's he's high up in the Pittsburgh Police Department. I think he's, I don't know. This is kind of cool in the back, a list of characters. Yeah, Assistant Chief of Operations. But his son has actually been convicted for murdering 2 cops and a couple other folks. And so part of the drama and the dialogue is, basically him dealing with how he's being treated now is, having a son that is definitely not a rule follower. And so, it's kind of cool. It seems like maybe this was a Batman thing, though, where Commissioner Gordon, his son is kind of went off the rails, and he maybe went through something similar, but I don't know. If I read a story like that, it was a long time ago. But it seems like it's out there somewhere. But this is still a cool idea. And this is the director of operations. This is his other son, who apparently is on the street and might have a drug problem. But yeah, I like this artwork. The backgrounds are, in my opinion, serviceable. I don't know that I'm not like a huge fan of the background art in this book, and it's okay. I think I wouldn't be looking so closely, but I mean, for my book, man, I tell you, the backgrounds are tough. It's rough. It takes some time. If I was just drawing like a scene, no people, it'd be okay. As soon as you populate that scene, man, it gets weird. And getting better, but I think some of the backgrounds I finished have been pretty good, but it's just time consuming, and maybe that's just the way it is. But this one, I mean, some of them I like this actually. Some of them look like they were maybe just a little bit too much SketchUp involved, and this is where he's meeting with his son, who has been incarcerated for murder. And I don't know a lot about Kyle Higgins. I called up a podcast, or I got a podcast up, and where he was mentioned in the title, and the folks on the podcast didn't bother to introduce each other, so it was just like these guys rambling. So, but I think he might, as well as write, but he might have something to do with, like, he's some kind of liaison between, Image Comics and the talent, and maybe has something to do with finding new talent, which is, sounds like a noble cause. Yeah, this was one panel in particular that just seemed like, like maybe straight out of like some kind of app or something, And I suppose you did, I used perspective grids on the computer, on the iPad, so I totally get it. And I think, so I bet most of these panels he used some kind of, digital tool, but it seems like he does a better job at covering it up in some panels than others. And I think that's kind of been my big complaint with some of these new comics that I've been picking up, having like the last 10 years not bought a lot of new comics, or maybe even the last 15 years. But so we have two possible suspects as far as who the killer is, and one of them's coming after our director of operations. Man, I need some coffee or something. Sorry, I've been sick. I'm on cough medicine right now. I've been saying that, I think, every other video. I don't know. But I think on the upswing today, maybe. Yeah. So I kind of like the character designs. I even like the simpler design of the first guy. But yeah, so I don't know who's the killer. I don't know. But yeah, we find out that the latest killing, the killing at the beginning of the book, was done by the gun, or that was used, is being used here. So yeah, no one is above the law, and I am no one. So anyway, there was one thing I did hear on I think on a YouTube video or a podcast with Kyle Higgins. I mean, I listened to about 20 minutes of it, but he talked about how when he writes, he feels like if there are, I think he called it narrator, but boxes with exposition, how important it is that that writing be top notch, and that he does everything he can to avoid putting, using exposition like that or a narrator's voice. And one thing I noticed about this, and I'm not sure, I think the reason why I noticed it is because it's really predictable. But you'll see, like, this nice, and I don't know, maybe, it's something you need to do, but there's establishing shot, the city street, presumably, the outside of this art gallery. And then on the next page, establishing shot, they're up in the penthouse outside. And then, big 2-page spread. I guess it's not exactly an establishing shot because, they've already sort of, but he's pulled out more, which I guess is cool. I mean, it's all cool. I think he does a really good job with these. But establishing shot, it just seems like the top of every page turn is establishing shot, establishing shot, establishing shot, establishing shot. Well, what's at the next one? Oh, nope. This was nice. It's a little different. So, this scene takes place in a bar, and he starts off with a kind of close up of the TV. Pulls out. I went to a writing workshop one time where one of the exercises was to establish a scene by focusing on the smallest detail in that scene you could think of, and then, becoming less specific about, that one thing and more about, the scene itself. So, that's sort of what's going on here, TV pulling out. And actually kind of what's going on here. This is sort of, this is really the establishing shot, I suppose, but you pull out. And then another establishing shot of sorts where, now he's inside but, I don't know. I don't know if that's a bad thing exactly, but it just seemed like it was something I wouldn't have noticed it unless it was so predictable, at least, the first half of the book. And, I know that's something I try to do in my writings, to kind of, at the end of a page, either the scene continues and it ends, at the end of the next page, and the page turn takes you someplace else, or, but I don't know, I wonder if there's a way to do that where it doesn't seem so obvious. But anyway, yeah, so this was it. This is my Wednesday. Nothing big this week. Although, this was cool. I've been complaining about number ones not having much going on. Lots of story in this, I felt like, and lots of, you really get to know the characters, and they're even developed a little bit. You got to get to know them, know what's going on, what role they're playing, and pretty happy. I'm much, I don't know if I'll even read this until I, maybe get into some older Turtle stuff. But I really think it's cool that I got the Eastman cover. So, yeah, man. Anyway, there's Winterland, the comic. This is my book. So, one of these days we'll look at it a little closer. I'm working on issue 4. I have 5 and pretty much out to 6 scripted. And I think I have a plan here where sometime in the next year I'm going to offer up the first 2 issues on Indiegogo, like either as issue, you'll be able to get like issue 1 in issue 2, or I think there will be enough pages where I'll be able to have the 2 issues perfect bound, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. I mean, this was a blast. I can't tell you how cool it was to see this. Just even seeing the proof come in the mail was like, whoa, this is crazy. I did this. And so I think seeing a perfect bound, square bound copy of the first 2 issues is really going to be mind-blowing. For me, anyway. I hope maybe there's a handful of you that feel somewhat the same way. I think it's pretty good. There's definitely something that happens in the first issue of this. This is very much, there's a story. I don't just introduce the characters and, whatever, over a cup of coffee. There's stuff that happens. Anyway, yeah, man, take care. God bless. Peace. And, man, if you haven't liked and subbed to my channel, or subbed to the channel and liked the video, please consider doing that. Yeah, take care. Bye.